Playing from Anna's laptop.
I am just going to sit here and ramble for a little bit because um, I need to get some thoughts out. And I'm trying to process, trying to understand or make sense of um, get to the bottom of, or I don't know, make sense of um, some things. Um, 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 this may turn into a long video. Um, I'm talking here because it is literally traumatizing me, and I can't seem to get my attention off of it right now to do anything useful. And it's very distressing. So I am talking at the screen right now to, in order to kind of do a brain dump, I guess, if you will. I'm like the mental response in me is like similar to that of, like, the feeling in my chest is like feeling of the threat of death. um I I now, as I try to talk about it, the words won't come out. They're stuck inside, and I'm trying to make sense of it all to be able to speak clearly, and I can't even get the words out because I feel so um whew, um I feel so I am really confused. Um, I I'm not sure if it's just that I was led on. I don't know, but we were both fully invested and um, have a long history of being together. And I don't know if it's shock that I'm experiencing or if it's okay. Hopefully, I can actually get this out what I wanted to say. Um, I just don't understand. I don't understand what happened. I love him, yes, but I don't understand where the resentment and anger is coming from. And blaming me, and I just don't understand. Like, I don't get it. um, I feel like I've been patient, um, haven't said anything mean or been nasty or done anything really wrong. Um, but over the past few months, I'm just completely dumbfounded. I don't understand what I don't understand what happened. And I feel mentally like blocked, like I'm stuck because of it. like um so over the past few months, um Grant and I, you know, we had already gotten back together, been talking long distance, nearly every day for like since the past year. I mean, it started earlier last year because we had first he was going to do some coaching, business coaching with me, and then we started out on another business venture together, and then I was helping him with some business stuff. Why am I going red? Anyway, and then uh, uh, it's really hard for me to put my finger on exactly like what is the issue. I don't understand what happened. So, okay, backing up. Um, there's been the lingering theme within the relationship over the years, anyway, of sort of not really being fully committed or not wanting to make it known to others that we were serious about building an empire together, building a future together, even though at the same time having very close and intimate communication and being very close. And so last Christmas, and he's had a recurring thing where he wants to, well, wanting to, uh, keep his friendship with his ex-wife, which I wasn't opposed to, but I just didn't want to be a secret, and I didn't want it to be something where his friendship with her was, you know, like I wasn't being prioritized, as well as the fact like his friendship with her wasn't being made a secret with me either. Um, so back, and so I waited quite a while actually to try to ask him to say like, hey, can you just like let her know that I'm in the picture, kind of a thing. So he did that over last Christmas, the holidays. um, I'm just so shocked, and I don't know how to process it, and I am like so much is at stake. And I just feel really like to pull the plug on me last minute when I already had a flight booked and so on. So going back, um, I had a severely traumatic incident in my family occur, and which I'm not going to go into that right now. I have before, but And it was something. Oh, don't cry, don't cry. Something which caused me severe grief and like a severe loss. And it was something that was not okay, not right. And um, so anyhow, Grant knew about all of this at the time. Um, I when it happened, I had to move out of my home. Um, I lost my job, and I was, you know, making a good amount of money. So that was scary, and I lost my job. Um, Basically, the job I was doing, um, uh, marketing director role. However, it was also PR director and events director, and it was a very high pressure job. I was pretty much working around the clock on this job to try to keep up with the demand, even like well into the night, some nights, losing sleep over it, so on. But I was really, really, really trying hard to maintain the job so I didn't lose my job and have to um, struggle to find another job and lose my home and, et cetera, et cetera. So I had that going on with me. And then I, I, um, had a terrible incident happen in my family. And something that caused a lot of grief, as I said, that was in March. Um, it's really taken a toll on me. I it has really taken a toll on me. So I'm not saying that I'm not trying to blame him for experiencing difficulty with me because I've been having to carry the weight of this burden on my own mostly, and um, most of the time I've tried to not over the past few months. So it's July 20th. So since March, April, May, June, July, almost 5. Wow. I have tried to not burden him with the emotional burden of how this incident affected me. I really have, because I knew that obviously, like, in order to keep things maintained and stuff, we had to have positive and pleasant communication and so on. And I started to feel a little bit like, you know, I can't or shouldn't talk about it with him because it's just going to upset him, and he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to listen to it, or he doesn't want to, um, you know, he just wants it to be fun and light and, you know, stuff like that, which normally it is. And, you know, we've had lots and lots of um, happy go lucky, light communication too. Um, so, uh, um, so, um, uh, I had a family court case or court hearing on June 17th. And leading up to that, I was just a mess. I was just yeah, I admit it. I was just, just in a lot of pain and, um, um, you know, I guess just very distracted by that and hurt by it. And um, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but basically, uh, so about 3 months ago, so I moved out of the family home. I had to move everything on my own. It took me 6 days, full days to move out. I was under pressure to move out by a certain date. I stayed in an Airbnb for about a month because I don't know, because I was able to at that time. It was a bit expensive, but at that time it was a very nice environment for me to just sort of chill for a little bit. I worked on yeah. I was working for a lady who I was doing some graphic design work for. So I found another, went through another interview process, made multiple trips out to LA. Whew. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Made multiple trips out there, got hired, um, and I wasn't making as much money as before, but it was at least like it was something that where I could see that I could sustain my current living situation. um, so then, but I was working like like mostly remotely, and I did go out there for some trainings a couple times. So the lady, basically, I finished with a project, and then she said that um, having a remote person didn't work for her because she wanted to be able to look at the work, look over my shoulder, like, that sort of thing. So that didn't work for her. And so she said, okay, well, this doesn't work for me. So I said, okay, cool. No worries. um, After that, I, um, I know this is going to be long. I know. And I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to take the time to do that. I'm just going to talk about as much as I can just to get it out of my head, to try to make sense of things, because nothing makes sense at the moment. Nothing makes sense. And it's therapeutic for me to kind of just go through this. So, okay, so then I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? So I basically canceled my stay at the Airbnb, and I was like, really like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now? um, so then, um, so uh, I quickly tried to think of a solution. I even considered, oh, maybe I'll just live out of my car for now. I like almost ordered, um, you know, black screens to put up and stuff like that around my car, because at the time I had a uh, Jeep Renegade, which is a really nice car, and I miss it. Um, but then I thought, my thought process on it was, okay, well, if I'm going to be either working for myself or try to find another remote job or something like that, I'm going to need Wi-Fi. So, if I'm living out of my car, for crying in a bucket, um, and I'm, what do you call it? Sorry, just give me time to get this out, please. Okay, so, I thought I just have a lot of mental pressure at the moment, which makes it difficult for me to, uh, like, a lot of mental weight or mental threat to my survival at the moment. So I'm just kind of like, I'm panicking. That's what like internal panic. Trying to remain calm, centered, focused, um, relaxed, positive. Yeah. All right. So back to, I thought I could just live in my car for a little bit until I get some money saved, save on rent and stuff like that, find some more work, and then, uh, and then, go like work out of a hotel, like go to a hotel or something like that. But then I did check out a couple of hotels, like sit in the lobby and just kind of use the Wi-Fi. I checked out a couple of hotels, and I thought, that actually doesn't really work as well, because anyway, whatever. It just didn't work out. Didn't seem to be the right solution at the time. So then I was looking around online, and I thought, what about like, I think I saw like an ad, or like maybe I searched on ChatGPT or something like that, like a shared workspace, Wi-Fi, places with Wi, something like that. So I ended up finding this place where I'm at now, and this was towards the end of April. And gosh, okay, so it's just all a bit much to process and deal with, and like one thing after the other, so much loss, and um so I'm gonna put my glasses on, actually. Maybe they'll stop me from crying, because I'm, yeah. So um yeah, so toward in April I found this place, and then I came and had a look at it as I was getting ready to leave the Airbnb and stuff like that. So Um, Basically, I came here, had a look around, and decided, okay, yes, I think I can make this work. At the moment, I had a little bit of savings still, so I did have some cash still, and so I paid for the month of May. May? We're in July. Yeah, so I paid for May, and then there was also like a security deposit and stuff. And so um yeah, and then I just basically was like, okay, well, I can get one of those like fold out couch things that where you like a little fold out futon thing. Um and just sleep on that and go to the gym for showering and anyway, that turned out to be a bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. And anyway, so meanwhile, um, basically at the same time in April, um, uh, I was only able to see my daughter once for about an hour. And slowly, just, she was very one word answers and wouldn't really talk to me. It was for her birthday. Basically, I went and gave her a bunch of presents. I bought a nice dress just to look nice for her. Um, and I'm not talking about this story just for someone to feel sorry for me. This is just, you know, what's happened. And I'm not going to go into right now um, more about that. But anyway, so meanwhile, I was also kind of processing really difficult emotions of grief over the slow erosion of my relationship with my daughter and my son, and complete denial in their lives. And so, on the other side of things, um, Grant and I were still continuing our relationship, and um, uh, let's see, we had one disagreement over uh, yeah, sharing locations with his ex-wife, and so that came up as an issue. But then we moved past that, and that was fine. I it was decided that we would cross that bridge later, basically, like if we needed to, at that time, and so. uh, there have been times where I felt like I was giving a lot of my time and attention for him as well. And um, it seemed like if I brought up something that was potentially uncomfortable or unpleasant, it was just seen as just nagging, and I started to feel very, I don't know what the word is, held back on, you know, saying anything until it seemed like, really seemed like something should be said, not in any way as an attack or criticism, but just as, like, hey, can we talk about this? Uh, um, so, more recently, uh, so then it was like we had some sort of, I don't know, discussion about something. He got upset with me over something. I don't know. Um, and what would end up happening is, you know, maybe we had an argument about something, and then instead of us just practicing healthy communication skills, just basically emotional shutdown on his end and just completely shutting down on me and stonewalling and, ignoring and stuff like that. And then that in turn, me feeling this sort of like sense of desperation or like, you know, but I know we can talk it out. Like I know it can be, um, I know we can do this. Um, I began to feel as though my efforts to just straighten things out with good communication and respectful, healthy, like take turns and so on, um, like he would just get frustrated with me when, like, if I would say something and he didn't agree, he would jump in and uh, interject like a rebuttal right away, and I would get cut off, and I would feel like, can we take turns here and like, have our communication, both of us patiently just listen to each other and understand each other, because that's how you handle a conflict, really. It's or a disagreement. It's just a matter of, it's two people who care a lot about each other that, you know are refusing to give up on each other and just are making a conscious effort to actually communicate in a healthy manner, keeping your manners in, being respectful and courteous. Like, I think courteousness is it's like, keep that in mind when you're talking with your partner. It's just, you know, let them finish, but also keep in mind the goal of the whole conversation is resolution. So it's not to actually destroy the relationship, because for me, sometimes it could seem like like he was arguing in the direction of destroying the relationship more, whereas I was trying to say, no, 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 let's, like, we can do this, like, it's okay. And So, and I did mention this to him once, that I tend to have a hard time listening when the communication is about me and it's destructive, and it's like it's an evaluation about me, or an invalidation that I feel is like not correct, like, you know, like you always, whatever it is, fill in the blank. I feel like, you know, and I did admit this to him once. I was like, I need to be better at that. But I guess inside me is like this urge to try to fix it before he goes further down that route of that path of thinking where, like, you know, you're just all bad kind of a thing. And then, yeah, so I guess that's, I would get defensive. Hmm. And because I'd be afraid that it was gonna lead to something in the conversation where he just saying, you know, hangs up on me and says goodbye, and like shut the door, and so on. So it was like this cycle of like, um, I really, really try to be patient and listen, but then if it was, the conversation was going in a negative direction, I have this like urge to like quickly like fix it. No, like like fix it. No, 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 no. Don't like talk him off the ledge, kind of a sort of a thing. Um, and so, God. Anyway, I even at one point I was getting so stressed about finances, relationship, grief. Um, you know, my I was physically starting to feel caved in, and this was in May, I believe. I actually went into the ER because I was having panic attacks, and my heart was palpitating just like all day long. It felt like it was struggling um to keep going. Like it was, I felt like I was like, am I having a heart attack or something? So I ended up just laying down all day, and then at the end of the day, um, I ended up going to the ER. Um, it didn't end up being anything that they could detect, but they just said it was stress-induced panic attacks. But it was weird. It was like all day long happening, like just consistently all day long. My heart was beating, like I could, in my, and then sometimes double beating, and I was like, um, anyway, so I started to put together, I started to put together a business. Well, basically, you know, trying to, oh, no, let me back up. So yeah, so I had agreed I was going to go out to uh, be with Grant, but I was going to stay here long enough to do the court case, to try to fight to still have a part of my, be a part of my kids' lives. I thought, you know, I've got to try to do everything that I can on this. So, um, but I was so mentally blocked from, it's like this catch 22. It's really, destructive mentally, like this catch 22 of of being stuck in a mental warp, mind loop, depressive state so much that I'm uh, like really slowed on trying to function basically. It's awful. Um, so basically being severely just traumatized, I guess is the word. And then, you know, having that, and then uh, whenever this um, a disagreement with would happen with Grant and I, or we couldn't, you know, resolve some kind of communication or whatever, um, uh, it got to the point of like silliness, like this, like a habit of like communication about communication. You know, it's like over nothing. And that's the part that doesn't really make sense to me, because I know that we can and have gotten along, and we have way more times of when we have gotten along than not. Um, so, uh, so I decided I was going to sell my car. That was part of our plan, was to, I was going to sell my car. And so I did that. So I had some funds to live off of for a while. Um, Unfortunately, um, you know, it's like bills and things and this and that. Like, even though I've been very, like, um, I've been very, um, what's the word, frugal. The money, you know, hasn't, you know, it's like running out basically. So I had my savings, I had the car, money from the car, and then I was trying to work on building this business. Um, and running into issues with that too. Like, I basically got everything set up, you know, on the technical back end, but then just going through these episodes where I just couldn't do the sales. Like, I tried doing cold calling. I really did. I probably, I don't know, a few hundred, something like that. I mean, I tried, and it was weird because in the beginning I did actually was able to book a few appointments that way, but I nothing actually came of that. And then so meanwhile, I got the court documents in too late to the court, because it was so difficult having to research how to do it and write everything up. And so the judge didn't actually hear my side of the story. So I, the result wasn't really that good. um, uh, so at the same time, just basically, I've felt stuck, basically, just really stuck. Um, so more recently, like in the past few weeks, um, there was some sort of, I don't know, disagreement over something. And uh, I, Um, so then I was saying, because this is more recently, like in the past 3 or 4 weeks, actually, yeah, 3 weeks. Um, there was another issue where it came up where um, he basically wanted to go hang out with his ex-wife, or was like, I don't know, in touch with her or whatever. So basically I had said, like, oh yeah, so this was back in April. He had told me that at that time, like, okay, I'm not gonna go hang out with her, unless I like, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And I'll if I have to, I'll run it by you, um, prioritizing and respecting the relationship. So then, um, so there, I mean, we weren't talking every day, but there were times where I just was like, I'll give you space, and then let him reach out when he wants to, and he would, and I would also reach out, and stuff like that. Um, and then he happened to be involved in a minor car accident, and then that Sunday he called me up and said, uh, basically was very agitated, and um, in some way kind of put the cause down to the fact that we'd had difficulties communicating, and like stress over that or something like that. Quite honestly, I don't know why um, he had been so upset with me. Um, at that point, we were supposed to talk that Sunday or Monday, and we hadn't talked in a couple days. And you know, meanwhile, I'm going through my own, like, I'm here alone, just kind of in isolation, and just um, beside myself with grief all the time. But trying to keep it off his plate. Um, and then so at that point, um, I had also been in touch with my friend who I knew from high school in Australia, and she'd said a few times, like, "Oh, just come out here and stay with me, and I'll help you out." Yeah. um, so at that point, he said he'd be in touch with me in a couple days, and so I left it. But then he came back and said, "Okay, let's try and see how we go with our communication and see how that goes." So then I, meanwhile, had been talking with her, and um, I knew that coming up by the end of this month, end of July or something, like, I knew I needed a solution, like, fast. Like, I needed something in order to not be completely homeless on the streets. And I was having trouble working. Had been applying for jobs as well, but not getting anything through with that. Um, Failed a couple interviews because I think I came across not confident enough, basically. Uh-oh. Shit. That's him calling.